Have you ever looked up at the sky and just felt that strange, heavy stillness that warns you a monster storm is about to break? And with so many of our loved ones trying to get home during this special lull between Christmas and New Year's, what exactly does this massive atmospheric shakeup mean for their safety? It is Saturday evening, December 27th, and I am sitting here watching the weather maps completely flip, bringing winter back with a vengeance right as holiday dinners are winding down. Just as we are getting ready to ring in 2026, it feels like Mother Nature wants to test our resilience one last time with a storm system that is as tricky as it is intense. We were all enjoying that unseasonable warmth, weren't we? It almost felt like spring had sprung early, but don't be fooled. Old Man Winter is returning to the stage with heavy snow and biting cold for huge chunks of the country. But listen closely, friends, because this isn't just another run-of-the-mill snow forecast. The atmosphere is signaling something rare and powerful that seasoned experts know not to ignore. Stick around for the 4-minute and 45-second mark, where I will show you how a massive pressure drop of 24 millibars is going to trigger an explosive storm this weekend. Proof that when winter sleeps late, it wakes up angry. By minute 8, we will look at how the jet stream is taking a deep dive over the Midwest to park a storm right over Minnesota, a setup that has even the most experienced forecasters watching nervously. At the 12-minute mark, I will share the specific snow totals and timing for more than 50 cities, giving you the exact numbers emergency crews are using right now to make those tough calls. I am pulling this straight from reports updated in the last 75 minutes by the National Weather Service and storm centers across the nation. So you are getting the freshest data available. When we get to minute 18, I will walk you through the timeline of that bone-chilling Arctic air chasing the storm south, dropping temperatures fast enough to freeze pipes and test our patience. And at minute 22, we will look ahead at how this opens the door for wave after wave of snow through early January, kicking off what the old-timers would call a true winter of reckoning. But before we get into the weeds, let's chat about why this, quote, bomb cyclone has the experts so worried and why the folks who have watched the skies for decades saw this coming long before the computers did. You hear the term bomb cyclone, and it sounds terrifying. But it really just means the pressure is dropping incredibly fast, at least 24 millibars in one day, which acts like a turbo boost for the storm. When a system ramps up that quickly, it creates a mess of hazardous weather across state lines and time zones, right when our roads and airports are at their absolute busiest. The main culprit here is that as we head into Sunday, the jet stream is taking a significant plunge over the Midwest, loading the atmosphere with energy like a coiled spring waiting to snap. We are going to see a low-pressure center park itself right over Minnesota and the Dakotas, dragging warm moisture up from the Gulf to slam headfirst into freezing Arctic air from Canada. Make no mistake, this isn't just a grab an umbrella kind of day or a dusting of snow that looks pretty on the lawn. This is a serious disruption. We are looking at a major event here. Some spots up north could get buried under 2 to 3 feet of snow, the kind that shuts down towns and keeps you housebound for days. The wind is going to be howling too, with gusts hitting 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. Strong enough to snap trees and leave thousands of families in the dark. Down in the Ohio Valley, it is a different beast entirely, with severe storms popping up on Sunday, creating a headache for first responders dealing with fire and ice at the same time. This storm is dragging a massive cold front all the way from Texas up to New England, turning the entire map into a battleground between the seasons. Late Sunday into Monday, that Arctic air is going to spill down the map, sending temperatures crashing and reminding us all just how quickly nature can turn the tables on our plans. Looking further out, the jet stream is going to stay stuck in this pattern, funneling more storms our way and keeping us on our toes well into the middle of next week. So pull up a chair and let me walk you through what this monster system means for your hometown. covering more than 50 major metro areas across the United States. We will start up in the northern plains and upper Midwest, since you folks are going to take the first and hardest hit from this system over the weekend. For my friends in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the Twin Cities, get the shovels ready. We are talking about historic snowfall that could rival the legendary storms our grandparents still talk about. Expect 12 to 18 inches of the white stuff, and with that wind whipping around, it is going to feel dangerously cold and make driving virtually impossible. Up in Fargo, Grand Forks, Duluth, and Bismarck, the numbers are even higher. 18 to 24 inches isn't out of the question, which is going to put a real strain on the plow crews. If you are in Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, or down in Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, you will catch the southern edge, but 8 to 14 inches is still plenty to make a mess of things. Over in the Great Lakes, the lakes themselves are going to fuel the fire, adding extra snow on top of what the storm is already dumping. A double whammy that locals know all too well. Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo. You are all in the line of fire for heavy snow and howling winds that will make it look and feel like a full-blown blizzard outside your window. Rochester, Syracuse, and Erie, Pennsylvania, you know how lake effect works. You could end up with some of the highest totals on the map when all is said and done. Now, let's look at the Ohio Valley, where things get really wild with a fascinating but dangerous clash between winter chills and severe summer-like storms. Cincinnati, Columbus, Indy, Louisville, you are right on the line where snow turns to thunderstorms, making it a nightmare to figure out what to expect as the system rolls through. Pittsburgh and down into West Virginia, you are likely staying on the snowy side of things, so keep the salt handy and prepare for some slick roads. Heading over to the Northeast, you are definitely getting a taste of winter. But how much snow you get depends entirely on the exact track this system decides to take. Albany, Boston, Providence. You are looking at a good dumping of snow that could snarl traffic and keep you digging out for a while. For New York City, Philly, and D.C., it looks more like a slushy, rainy mess right now. But a shift of a few miles could change everything, so please stay tuned. Now, let's not forget the South, where the threat isn't snow, but dangerous thunderstorms crashing the holiday peace right when you least expect it. Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, you are in the danger zone for damaging winds, hail, and even tornadoes. So please keep your phones charged and weather radios on. Charlotte and the Carolinas, you could see supercells popping up with hail and strong winds, so keep an eye on the sky and have a plan. Back towards Texas and the Gulf, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, that storm line extends all the way to you, bringing a risk of severe weather as it marches east. Out west, Denver, Seattle, L.A., you aren't in the direct path of the bomb cyclone, but that Arctic air will eventually seep your way, cooling things down significantly. Let me break down the timing hour by hour for the next 48 hours so you can plan your life around this beast of a storm and keep your family safe. Have you ever seen a storm gather strength so quickly that it feels like the sky is waking up angry? Things start coming together Saturday night, but by Sunday morning, it's going to intensify rapidly before unleashing severe weather across the Ohio Valley later that afternoon. When Sunday evening rolls around, the upper Midwest is going to get buried under the heaviest bands of snow, and those dangerous conditions will stick around through Monday morning before the real Arctic chill invades in the afternoon. By the time we get to Monday evening, that massive storm system will finally drift off into Canada, opening the floodgates for freezing air to rush south, leaving us with clear skies but dangerously cold temperatures on Tuesday. Now, can we talk for a minute about just how cold this Arctic blast is actually going to be? We are looking at a dramatic plunge that is going to test every bit of resilience our communities have. Folks up in the northern plains and upper Midwest need to be ready for the biggest shock, with thermometers potentially crashing 30 to 40 degrees in just 12 hours. If you are in Minneapolis or Fargo, you could see readings nosedive from the 20s and 30s on Sunday all the way down to below zero by Monday night, with wind chills that are downright scary. My friends in Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, and Cleveland, you are not off the hook either.
Expect a massive crash from the 30s and 40s on Sunday down to single digits and teens by the time you are eating dinner Monday.
That freezing air is not just staying north, it is going to march all the way down to Texas and the Gulf Coast by Tuesday and Wednesday, bringing winter to places that just aren't built for this kind of cold. In cities like Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, and Birmingham, you could feel the temperature plummet 20 to 30 degrees as that front sweeps through, which is going to be a real headache for farmers and our power grids. But here is the thing. This weekend storm is just the opening act. Our weather pattern is staying incredibly active, almost like it is fulfilling those old stories about hard winters returning. We have got a whole train of Alberta clippers lining up to drop out of Canada next week, meaning we could see round after round of snow keeping us on our toes. I have a strong feeling January is going to hit the ground running with this stormy setup, bringing back the kind of intense winter weather the old-timers always talk about. Let me walk you through exactly how to get ready for this, depending on where you live, because taking a few simple steps now could truly be a lifesaver for you and your family. If you call the Northern Plains or Upper Midwest home, where the snow and wind will be fiercest, please have your home fully prepped and ready to go by Saturday evening at the latest. Go ahead and fill the pantry with food and water, grab your meds, and make sure you have plenty of flashlights, batteries, and a backup way to stay warm just in case the lights go out for a few days. I cannot stress this enough. Please, stay off the roads from Sunday morning through Monday evening, because those blizzard conditions can trap you in your car before you know it. For my family around the Great Lakes, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo, get ready for a long haul of rough winter weather, especially with that lake effect snow changing by the minute. If you are down in the Ohio Valley or Southeast, Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, you need to keep your eyes on the sky for severe thunderstorms and all the hazards that come with them. Please make sure you have a solid plan for severe weather, including a safe spot away from windows if tornado warnings pop up, because things can turn ugly very fast. For everyone down in Texas and the South Central region, Dallas, Houston, Little Rock, keep a close watch on the forecast and brace yourselves for that temperature to drop like a rock. Over in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, Albany, Boston, and the interior folks, you should expect a decent amount of heavy snow that is going to make driving a real chore. Even out in the Mountain West, places like Denver, Salt Lake City, and Albuquerque, you are going to feel the chill once this storm passes, so bundle up. Before we wrap this up, I want to take a moment to look at the bigger picture and what this massive storm really means for all of us moving forward. This system feels like a turning point, shifting us back toward those traditional tough winter patterns we haven't seen in a while, just like the forecasts warned. We got a little spoiled with that warm spell that tricked us into thinking winter was over, but now we are seeing the return of the classic storm tracks that define the season. The way the jet stream is setting up suggests this bomb cyclone is just the beginning, with plenty more storms likely to roll through January in what promises to be a testing season. I want us to really look out for our elderly neighbors and vulnerable folks, because a storm this powerful requires us to come together as a community to keep everyone safe. If you know a senior living alone, please set up a system to check on them, because being isolated in this kind of weather can turn dangerous quickly without someone looking out for you. This is when our community spirit matters most. A simple check-in on a neighbor could literally save a life and offer some much-needed comfort during a stressful time. Our local churches and faith groups are going to be so important during this emergency, offering spiritual peace and practical help to anyone struggling through the storm. Let me break down the 7 most critical things you need to remember about this event, because having these facts straight could make all the difference. First up, we are watching a bomb cyclone form this weekend, with pressure dropping 24 millibars or more in just 24 hours, which spells trouble for a lot of states. Second, we are talking about serious snow. 2 to 3 feet could pile up in parts of the northern plains and upper Midwest, creating blizzard conditions you won't forget. Third, it is heartbreaking to say, but severe weather like tornadoes, hail, and damaging winds could threaten the Ohio Valley and Southeast right in the middle of Sunday. Fourth, right behind the storm comes an Arctic blast that will send temperatures crashing 20 to 40 degrees in a matter of hours, putting a strain on everything. Fifth, don't put away the shovel just yet, because the pattern stays active with Alberta clippers, bringing more snow chances right into early January. Sixth, driving is going to be risky or downright impossible across huge stretches of the country from Sunday through Monday, so please don't risk it if you aren't prepared. Seventh, the clock is ticking on your prep time, with the worst stuff starting Sunday morning and running through Monday evening, so you need to act fast. Please get all your emergency gear and plans sorted out by Saturday evening, because once things get bad, help might not be able to get to you. Keep in mind that storms like this have a mind of their own, so the specific impacts might shift as we get closer to the weekend. I promise I will be here watching this system day and night to give you the updates you need, because keeping you in the loop is my top priority. Stick with your official weather sources and please take every warning to heart, because this storm has the potential to really put our communities to the test. Whether you are digging out of snow in Minnesota, dodging storms in Alabama, or shivering in Texas, a little preparation and a lot of faith can go a long way. That's the full rundown on this intense winter event as we get ready to ring in the new year together. Until we talk again, stay safe, keep your guard up, and remember that weather this powerful can change in the blink of an eye. Have you thought about who needs to see this warning right now? Please pass this along to your loved ones in the danger zone, because looking out for each other is how we stay safe. Is there anything weighing on your heart that I can lift up in prayer for you? Drop a note in the comments so we can support one another through this rough patch. Sending love and big prayers to you and your household as we brace for this monster storm and the deep freeze trailing right behind it. You know, this isn't just another snow day. It's a real test of how well we prepare and how tightly we stick together as a community when things get tough. We are going to get through this wild bomb cyclone the same way we handle everything else, by standing side by side and helping our neighbors weather the storm. Moments like this really make you respect Mother Nature, don't they? It's a humble reminder that faith, preparation, and having a solid tribe are what matter most. Let's sit down and look at exactly what this system means for your specific neck of the woods, especially if you're near the big cities. To my family up in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, get ready to hunker down, because this looks like the biggest snow dump of the season for you. When things get intense Sunday evening, snow could pile up at a rate of 2 to 3 inches every single hour, turning roads into a complete whiteout. By the time Monday morning rolls around, that wind chill is going to be brutal, dropping to between -20 and -30 degrees. Stay inside, folks. For my friends in the Chicago area, you're looking at a 1-2 punch. Heavy snow first, followed by a blast of Arctic air that will cut right through you. If you're flying out of O'Hare or Midway, pack your patience. Crews are de-icing, but delays and cancellations are pretty much guaranteed for Sunday and Monday. If you live near the lakefront, keep an eye out. Lake Michigan might fuel the storm and dump several extra inches of snow on top of everything else. Heading over to Detroit and Michigan, travel is going to be a nightmare on the big roads like I-75, I-94, and I-96, so please stay off them if you can. Even after the main show wraps up, Lake Huron and Lake Michigan will keep the snow machine running, especially for folks in the western and northern parts of the state. Down in Cleveland and Ohio, you guys are right on the messy line where the heavy snow switches over to some nasty thunderstorms further south. The timing is tricky here because once those temperatures crash, all that wet pavement is going to flash freeze into a sheet of ice instantly. Buffalo and Western New York family, you know the drill. Once this cyclone passes, the lake effect engine kicks in and could keep burying you for days. Up in the Tug Hill Plateau, don't be surprised if you see another 2 to 3 feet of snow piling up even after the main storm moves on. Over in Boston and New England, you might not get buried, but there will be enough snow to make getting around a real headache. Travelers at Logan Airport and nearby spots, check your apps. Expect things to slow to a crawl Sunday night into Monday morning. Nashville and Tennessee friends, please be careful. Severe storms are rolling in right when everyone is trying to drive home from the holidays. What worries me most is that tornadoes could pop up while the sun is still out, right when the roads are packed with families. Birmingham and northern Alabama, please have your safe place ready. This setup looks prime for strong tornadoes that could do some real damage. The atmosphere is unstable enough for supercells, so watch out for big hail and damaging winds tearing through the Tennessee Valley. Atlanta and North Georgia, keep your eyes to the sky. Damaging winds and large hail are the main threats, and it could impact a lot of travelers. Hartsfield-Jackson is the busiest airport around, and these storms could ground flights all afternoon on Sunday, so plan ahead. Dallas-Fort Worth, folks, get your coats ready. You'll get the storms first, and then the temperature is going to nosedive as that Arctic air arrives. DFW Airport is already prepping the de-icing truck, so they are taking this freeze threat seriously. Houston and Southeast Texas, you aren't escaping this either. Watch for storms, then get ready for a cold snap that might hurt the crops. If you're flying out of Bush or Hobby, stay alert Sunday evening, because the weather could mess up flight schedules pretty quickly. Let's talk about the roads and the power grid for a minute, because this storm is going to stress our infrastructure coast to coast. Major arteries like I-35, I-80, and I-90 could shut down completely from the Midwest all the way to the East Coast. The road crews are heroes, and they are ready, but when snow falls this fast, even the best plows can't keep up with it. If you are flying, understand that this is going to cause a domino effect. One delay here ripples across the whole country. Vital hubs like Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit, and Atlanta are all in the crosshairs, which messes up the flow for everyone. Please check your flight status before you leave the house Sunday or Monday. Don't get stuck at the terminal if you don't have to. As for the power, heavy wet snow and strong winds are a bad recipe for keeping the lights on, so charge your devices now. Utility crews are staged and ready to roll, but if the weather is too dangerous, they have to wait to fix the lines. When the deep freeze hits, everyone's heater is going to be running nonstop, putting a huge demand on the grid. To my farming family in the upper Midwest, I know you're worried about the herds. This cold is going to be brutal for livestock. Please make sure the cattle have windbreaks and shelter, because these wind chills are cold enough to be fatal for animals. Dairy farmers, I know it's tough to stick to milking schedules when there is a blizzard outside and equipment starts freezing up. Our first responders are going to be stretched thin, so let's do our part to make their jobs easier by staying safe. Remember, ambulances struggle in snowdrifts too, so staying off the roads helps ensure they can reach the people who really need them. Have you heard that hospitals are already bracing for a massive surge in emergency room visits because of the injuries and accidents this cold weather brings? I need to sit down with you and talk about the long game here, because this bomb cyclone is really just the opening act for a very active January. The way the jet stream is set up right now is basically rolling out the red carpet for more storms to hit us all through the first 2 weeks of the year. We are going to keep seeing those fast-moving Alberta clippers swooping down from Canada, dumping fresh snow across the northern states pretty regularly. It honestly reminds me of those old-school La Niña winters where we would see system after system marching right across the Midwest and the Northeast. So if your town gets buried by this weekend's monster storm, don't put the shovel away just yet, because the winter weather isn't letting up. All these back-to-back storms are going to be a real headache for the plow crews, likely pushing town budgets and equipment to their absolute limits. But you know, folks, this isn't just about snow and wind. It is a real moment to show what we are made of and how well we can look out for one another. The communities that come out of this smiling will be the ones where folks talk to each other, share information, and lend a helping hand. Please take a moment to knock on your neighbor's door, especially the older folks or anyone with health issues, just to make sure they are doing okay. I am also calling on our local churches and faith groups to open their hearts and doors, getting those emergency programs running for the people who need them most. Behind the scenes, our local emergency teams are on the phone with state and federal agencies to make sure help is ready to roll when we need it. For the schools opening up as shelters, we need to make sure the heat is cranking, the pantries are stocked, and there are plenty of friendly faces to help out. To my friends running small businesses, brace yourselves because the ripple effects on your bottom line are going to last a bit longer than the snow does. Shops should anticipate some delays in deliveries and, naturally, seeing fewer customers walking through the doors while the weather is at its worst. Restaurants and hotels, you are going to have a tough time getting staff in safely, and honestly, customers might just stay home to avoid the roads. Factories need to get those cold weather safety plans in action now to protect the machinery and, more importantly, keep the workers warm during the freeze. Before I wrap this up, I have to be honest with you, family. The window to get ready for this historic mess is closing fast. Saturday evening is really your last safe chance to get everything done before the weather turns nasty and conditions start to go downhill. If you haven't already, run out now and grab food, water, your meds, flashlights with fresh batteries, and plenty of fuel to keep warm. Make sure your car has a kit with blankets, snacks, water, a first aid box, and a shovel in case you get stuck in a drift. Sit down with your loved ones and figure out how you will stay in touch if the cell towers go down or the power goes out. Double check your furnace and backup heaters right this second, because no repair technician is going to be able to reach you once the storm hits. We haven't seen a challenge like this in years, and getting through it is going to take every single one of us doing our part and looking out for the group. We are going to learn a lot from this that will help us down the road, especially since wild weather like this seems to be happening more often. As we stare down this monster storm, just remember that a little prep work, a lot of faith, and leaning on each other will get us to the other side. That is the full scoop on this bomb cyclone, from the nitty-gritty science to how we can keep our neighborhoods safe and sound. Please pass this along to anyone you love who might be in the storm's path, because being ready is what saves lives. Don't forget to check in on the folks next door, especially the seniors and those who need extra help. We are all in this together. Until I can update you again, I am praying that God blesses and protects you and your families through the rough days ahead. Keep your eyes on the news, stay ready, and never forget that we are so much stronger when we stand united in faith and support.